Today I've got the new Klarus WL1 Worklight. This has a cob LED style here, and it's red and white, and it rotates so it folds flat or is out on an arm. It's also got a white emitter on here on the side. It's USB rechargeable, has a hanging loop, and the base is magnetic. Thanks to Klarus for sending this light to me to look at and review. I'll have a link to where you can pick it up in the description below. If you've not already had the chance to follow me on social media, I'd appreciate you following me there. Links will be in the description below. And for those of you who already follow me, thank you. Packaging here is nothing special. It's a lightweight cardboard box designed for retail hanging. You've got a picture of the light on the front. You have a runtime kind of chart in the back with some specifications and shows kind of the light's options. And you have a little diagram showing how it folds all around 180 degrees up and down and side to side. Accessories here are nothing special. It includes the light itself, a USB-A to micro USB cable, and the manual. WL1 is made from plastic and is in a very Makita-like color. It's this teal plastic. It doesn't have a lot of glass reinforcing or anything like that. You've got a rubberized grip here on the back. This is your switch, and you've got a voltage indicator by these 4 LEDs. You've got a micro USB charging port underneath the flap. On the top here, you've got a silver piece of plastic that houses the hinge, and I suspect some metal underneath that. On the bottom, you have this magnetic area, and it's quite strong. It holds the light out, no problem, and is quite strong, as you can see there. You also have a hook here that folds out, quite nice. And then you've got a hole there for the tip of the light to show through there on the end. So this is the standard configuration of the light here. The bar, light bar I'm going to call it, is folded in. This folds all the way out and comes so the light folds 180 degrees. It will then rotate and then fold back if you want it to. This is in its compact mode with the light bar out, but you can also run it like this and really anything. It rotates a full 190 degrees this way, and then it rotates 90 degrees clockwise that way too. So really, this is very versatile. Combined with those 2 mounting points, you can get light wherever you want it to, and it works well. You've got your cob LED here on the bottom, and it's got a kind of a plastic lens cover on it. I used this to change the oil in my car, underneath and on top. It worked well for that, and I'll put some pictures and video in of doing that. Size and weight, I measured the light at 151 millimeters in the folded position, and the length in the unfolded position of about 325 millimeters. I measured the weight at 171.6 grams. And I don't have another light that's similar to compare this to, but here's a picture with a Convoy S2, and here it is next to a Paramilitary 2 knife, and the light is IPX5 water rated. Retention, as I mentioned, you do have a magnet on the bottom here that is quite strong. It's kind of indented here, and the sticker does scratch up pretty easily, as you can see there. And I do have a hanger here. This is really nice. It'll attach to ropes, wires, branches, things like that to suspend the light. The Klarus WL1 has 2 LED sources. First, you have the main cob LED here. That is your area lighting. There's no specific LED mentioned here, but the tint is 6500 Kelvin. It produces a maximum of 550 lumens, with the other modes coming in at 220 and 22 lumens each. This cob LED also has a red mode that produces 30 lumens, which is fairly bright. Lastly, there is a red blinking mode with no output given, but I'm gonna guess it's that same 30 lumens. Both red and white modes of the cob LED, they're fairly even. So this is on high mode, and you can see it's fairly even light, no problem, but you do have a kind of a sharp cutoff there, as you can see, and you do get a little bit of color distortion in this band here, and it is kind of an ellipse-shaped beam, and I think that's due to this being recessed quite a bit in there. You've got an LED here on the end here. It's not super bright. It's got 2 modes, and it's fairly simple, and the tint matches the cob LED. Okay, here I've got the Klarus WL1, and this is the 6500 Kelvin cob emitter on the light here, and you can kind of see in my hand what that looks like. I've got it out. It's a pretty hard edge, as you can see here. And this is the first mode that it starts on, which is medium, 220 lumens. And this is high, 550 lumens. And if I pan out, you can see it does throw to my fence there a little bit. Not the best light out there, but it does get there. That's probably about 40 feet, maybe, on a rough guess. The next mode is low here, and you can just see it. This is 22 lumens, and you can see it's on. Next is red, and you can see it's a nice floody red, fairly bright. It's rated for 30 lumens. Nice overall even beam. Here is the red flashing mode. Here is the light at the end here, just the pin light here. They don't give an official output for this here, but it's fairly low. I'd guess 20 lumens, something like that. So back to maximum of 550 lumens. Nice overall bright light, fairly even beam as well. A great replacement for your old school treble light with some added features of being hangable, magnetic, and battery operated. This light has an internal 2000 milliamp hour battery. No size is mentioned, but I'd guess it's an 18650 just given the size of the light. If so, that's a little bit disappointing because it's on the low end of capacity. The white light here has 3 output modes, and I did my first runtime in high or 550 lumens, and the light was able to hold this for 5 minutes before stepping down to 90% relative output slowly. From there it stepped down again to about 50% relative output, and then it was pretty linear as the battery declined out to a total of 2 hours of output. Medium mode, it was able to sustain 80% or greater for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Total runtime, red outputs were stable throughout, and there was a small amount of continual decline through the curve here. Light was able to sustain 80% relative output for 5 hours and 30 minutes of runtime. Total red runtime was 6 hours 45 minutes, and heat during both operations was negligible. So I'm going to leave this folded back here and go over the UI. I think this has a little bit of room for improvement. First, the buttons on the light, and you can see here it's got voltage indicators to tell you the battery level, and my light is full. It comes on medium mode by default, and if you click again, you go to high, then to low, as you can see here. Click again, it will go to red, and like I said, red's fairly bright. Then you've got a red flashing mode as well. There is no memory here, so if you do shut it off, you've got to start back on white medium, which I find a little frustrating. And if you want to change modes in the middle, it's just easiest to shut the light off and then kind of cycle through again. So that part's a little bit frustrating. To make the light on the very end work, you just press and hold and it will flip over to that mode, and then you press again to go up in modes there, and long press to turn off. As I mentioned, the light has micro USB here on the port cover in the back. Fairly simple, very easy to do. It's a very linear charge curve, not what I typically see for this type of battery. Total charge time on the internal 2000 milliamp hour battery was 3 hours and 58 minutes, so a fairly low charge rate. And the first 20 minutes or so, the light started out at 0.85 amps, but then decreased pretty linearly from there. So the pros for me are, this is fairly affordable, I think, at around $30 at the time of filming. It's well built for the price, a useful amount of light for area lighting, and the magnetic base and hanger are both good features. I think it's also a pro if you're a Makita tool guy. This should match what you've already got very well. The cons are the UI here I think could be better. I'd prefer the white light start with low, medium, and high, and that there be memory. It's currently only cool white only, and I'd like a more higher capacity battery or user replaceable. So my conclusion is, if your current work light is an old school light bulb in a cage on an extension cord, or old school halogen bulbs on a stand, the WL1's a nice portable replacement. I found it really helpful when doing an oil change under my car and in the engine bay. It's not the best beam or tint for if you're an enthusiast, but for a work light, I think it does a nice job at an affordable price, and it's got a 1-year warranty. I think this would make a nice stocking stuffer to add to your Christmas list if you know someone that likes to work on their cars or on houses. I think both would find great uses for these lights. Making it portable and handheld really is nice, and that magnetic base and hanger make it really portable too. In the comments below, let me know what you think of the Klarus WL1, and while you're there, check out my links to social media and where you can pick up this light as well. As always, I thank you guys for watching this review, and I'll catch you on the next one soon.